your PTSD symptoms and become trauma-free in 8 weeks using the ultimate trauma clearing system. Welcome to this video. My name is Tamara Schenk and I'm a licensed and certified trauma clearing master healer. Let me ask you 4 questions so that you know in 30 seconds if you are on the right video. Okay, let's go. Question number 1. Do you suffer from trauma flashbacks, nightmares, and a lack of sleep? Question number 2. Do you suffer from severe fear, panic attacks, anxiety, or depression? Question number 3. Are you procrastinating a lot and are you often in a state of avoidance? Question number 4. Do you have thoughts and beliefs of shame, guilt, and self-blame? Be honest to yourself. How often did you say yes? These were the 4 worst symptoms of past unresolved trauma. So the more yes answers you counted for yourself, the more important is this video for you. These were all symptoms of past unresolved trauma, and there are actually a few more. So if you just want to listen to these, then you can be really sure that you're on the right video. So if you are afraid of being judged and what others say or think about you, that's another trauma symptom. If you tend to emotional outbursts and mood swings, or do you feel often offended by things other people say or do, also these are trauma symptoms. And if you're using medications and drugs to silence the trauma symptoms, or if you're overeating, these are also PTSD symptoms. And even if you have a hard time to concentrate and if you have memory issues, this is also a trauma symptom because trauma changes the way how your brain is functioning. And I will share more about this in a couple of minutes. And also if you feel overly empathic or hypersensitive, also this can be a PTSD symptom. So overall, even if you counted more yeses now, the more yeses you have, the more past trauma must be resolved and cleared if you really desire to get your life back and to get back into enjoying your life and doing what you desire to do and not being stopped by all these PTSD symptoms. So what is the big problem? The big problem is that you have unresolved trauma in your body, mind, spirit system that is negatively impacting your entire life in all areas of your life, including your bank account. So it really impacts your primary relationship, your family life, your life with your friends, your physical, mental, emotional well-being, your personal development, your professional life, your business, everything, including your finances. And your journey so far is probably like this. You have probably tried a lot of things already, such as trauma therapy, maybe for years. But am I right that you still don't feel better and that you're still suffering from these PTSD symptoms? If that sounds like you, this video is a must-watch for you. You will learn a radically different approach on how to clear the root causes of your trauma symptoms once and forever. And you are not alone. Let me share a couple of numbers with you so that you can really have a better understanding of how big the problem of trauma is in our world. So 70% of adults in the United States alone have experienced a traumatic event at least once in their lives. More than 13 million people have PTSD at any given time, and this is just the number for the United States alone. In Europe, 2/3 of the European population have experienced at least one traumatic event in their lifetime. And 7.7 million people in Europe have also developed PTSD. And guess what? Women are about twice as likely compared to men to develop PTSD. And these are pre-COVID numbers. So we can only assume how much bigger the numbers for trauma are now. So what you will learn in this video is this: how PTSD symptoms are negatively affecting your entire life. You will learn how trauma changes your brain function and why trauma keeps you in a fear-based alert mode all the time. You will learn what your past trauma costs you every single day as long as it is not cleared. You will learn why fear is the biggest showstopper to self-empowerment and why fear keeps you where you currently are. You will learn why trauma cannot be talked away and why trauma must always be energetically cleared at the quantum level. You will also learn coping with your trauma doesn't make you feel better and why feeling differently is a prerequisite for getting your life back. You will also learn how to energetically clear your past traumas in 8 weeks without the need to relive your traumas or to talk about your traumas and all of this. And if you stay until the end, you will also experience a life trauma clearing here on this video. Let's have a look at a couple of experiences that lead to trauma. So if you had a difficult birth, that leads to birth trauma. If your parents didn't want you, if there were complications for your mother or for your parents while you were in the womb, so this creates prenatal trauma. If you were whipped as a child, that creates childhood trauma. If you experienced emotional, mental, or physical abuse as a child, and of course, if you experienced any kind of sexual abuse during your entire life, that creates trauma. If you experienced heavy accidents or a divorce or a difficult breakup, or if you discovered an extreme betrayal, or if you experienced huge financial losses or bankruptcy, or if you were involved in a natural disaster, in a crime, or if you were a victim of a terror attack, all these events create trauma. Let's define trauma. A trauma is an analogical experience that creates energetic trauma trigger buttons. You could say it's an energetic blockage. In this context, I call these blockages trauma trigger buttons. So these buttons are stored at the cellular and DNA level, and they have a certain energy frequency. And this certain energy frequency depends on the emotion you felt when the trauma occurred. So if you were the victim of a crime and you felt this victim energy, then the trauma trigger button goes to your second chakra. This is where victimhood and fear and all of this sits. Yeah. And the trauma trigger button sits there and is patiently awaiting to be reactivated again. And this is the problem with trauma, because if a similar situation occurs that your brain identifies as a danger, even if it's not real, the button gets reactivated and you will experience the same feelings as when the trauma occurred, and you relive the past trauma and you will have an extreme reaction that's often even more fearful. And this is why trauma creates such a big variety of symptoms that we went over a few minutes ago that are also known as PTSD symptoms. So the key is, as long as these underlying trauma trigger buttons are not cleared, you will relive your past traumas as soon as the trauma trigger buttons are pushed again, consciously or unconsciously, and you will often react even more extreme. In this video, we will learn how trauma changes your brain function and why trauma cannot be talked away. You will learn how to clear all trauma trigger buttons permanently at the cellular and DNA level. And you will also learn how to reset your brain function, because only then are you able to attract different places, different people, different events, because only then can you also grow your finances or develop your business or make this career step you're looking for, even if the world is in crisis mode. Let me share a little bit more about myself. So my name is Tamara Schenk, and I'm living in Germany, in the north of Germany, close to the Baltic Sea, with my husband, Michael, and my soul cats. So my background is actually in economics and IT. And I spent more than 25 years in the corporate world, and I had different roles. I had consulting roles, I had sales roles, I had business development roles. I was traveling a lot around the world. I always had international roles. And challenges in my own life pointed me then into a different direction. So, in parallel to my corporate career, I started to work on my soul journey for about the last 20 years. I did this consciously in this time. So I started to go to rituals and to workshops, learn ceremonies, because at the end of my 30s, I was very unhappy with my life at this time. I wasn't happy with the consulting job I had. I had to travel week after week and year after year. I was never at home, and I had severe physical symptoms. So this was the first step to get in touch with energy clearing work, and it just worked amazingly. I could get rid of all these symptoms. I got my life back. I found different roles that were better in line with my soul's innate gifts and talents. And then I came across the work of Toby Alexander and became a student. And I learned then a really complete system of different clearing techniques for all the different challenges I had. And I could really work in a consistent way from the auric field to karmic issues to soul level to trauma to DNA activation. It was a complete system. And whenever I applied it for myself or if I received a clearing this way, my life just got better. So this is why I learned more and more of this work, and I became a licensed practitioner and certified practitioner for most of these techniques. And then I founded my business, Energy Field Mastery, in 2019, and ever since I'm working with humans to help them clear their past trauma, to connect them to their soul's innate gifts and talents, and help them to really empower themselves to live their life and to do what they came here to do. And also my cats play an important role in my journey. So my cats all have a rescue background, and I learned early on that I could apply these energy clearing techniques for them as well. So all of my cats had some kind of trauma that they experienced in their life before they came to me. They came to us. And so I also work with animals with these same techniques. And my mission really is to help people to get access to higher levels of their consciousness and to really live more potential of themselves. And for those of you who are pet lovers, these are my cats, and each cat came with past trauma, and they all had a lot of benefits from these clearing techniques as well. But now let's continue with some human testimonials of my clearing work. So this one is probably the most impressive one from Waldemar. So he was diagnosed with PTSD a long time ago. Then he had for years extreme flashbacks and nightmares. He couldn't sleep more than 2 hours a night when he contacted me. And he said he was actually told that nothing could help him anymore. And a couple of sessions later, he said to me, Tamara, it's unbelievable. I can sleep again. I have no flashbacks anymore. So I was so very grateful for him to experience how powerful this work really is. So that's Valdemar's story. Then here is Melanie's testimonial. She had a difficult marriage and also a challenging divorce. And she really connected with a trauma symptom of being in a state of procrastination and avoidance. And she felt huge shifts in every single session. And she now found a lovely partner. So they are building a totally different life and they are embarking in their future. And that's just beautiful to see as well. And Elke's testimonial is also very powerful. So she experienced severe childhood trauma. So she was running in toxic relationships for many, many years in her adult life. And she experienced very challenging divorce when we started with her trauma clearing program. And she could really get back into her own power, really connect with her own soul mission, why she's here on the planet and what she came here to do. And so she really said, it has such a massive impact because I am free now. And she's now one of my aura clearing certified practitioners. She's doing great work with children and with people who are in similar challenging situations in their life. So let's have a look at what's at the core of each trauma, and this is fear. So I'm sure you know a couple of different abbreviations for fear, and I love this one very much. It's called false evidence appearing real. Why is this so important? Because fear always wants to keep you safe. And safe is from the fear's perspective where you currently are. This is why procrastination is such a big trauma symptom and why the state of avoidance is such a heavy trauma symptom. It's because of fear. So fear could be the fear of being visible, the fear of public speaking, the fear of leaving a toxic relationship, or the fear of leaving a job you don't like, the fear of death, the fear of investing, or the fear of learning something new, and really doing what you came here to do. So this way your past traumas are holding you back every single day in all areas of your life, and this is basically because of the fear that sits at the core of each trauma. So this way the trauma causes you to cope with it by numbing your trauma symptoms. Let's have a look at a couple of trauma examples. So there is trauma that happened to you. Let's say prenatal trauma, birth trauma, and childhood trauma. Also, trauma you have inherited from your ancestors and trauma from your own past lives. So let me give you an example for inherited trauma. So a client of mine, Tanya, she was born with the umbilical cord wrapped around her neck 2 times. And guess what? How her son was born? Exactly the same way. He had the umbilical cord wrapped around his neck 2 times. So we cleared this trauma for herself and also for her son. So, and you also have trauma from past life. This is usually one of the heaviest trauma clearings because you were probably here for many, many times. And the trauma you experienced in past lives is usually times 100 what you experience now. Yeah, and then there is trauma you experience in your adult life. Let's say job losses, bankruptcy, grief. So the grief due to the loss of a loved one, whether this is a human or an animal. So grief is very underestimated in the whole trauma science and trauma treatment, but it is actually a trauma. Divorces, heavy breakups, betrayal, bullying, abuse of any kind, accidents, waking up during surgery. So this is a heavy, heavy trauma. And of course, war and military trauma. This is a whole category of its own. So these are some of the heaviest traumas you can experience. And of course, crimes and terror attacks and natural disasters. So we already looked at the 11 symptoms of past unresolved trauma, so they were here for you again. I'm sure you remember the number of yes answers you had before, so whether these were 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or all 11 answers, just keep that in mind, how many yeses you had. So my question for you is, how many trauma symptoms do you have? Remember that number. And do you want to keep your past trauma? Let me show you how your past trauma holds you back every day. And then I will ask you this question again. Let's look at what trauma does to your brain. So a normal brain works like this. There is a smoke detector and a watchtower, and both are collaborating effectively. So the smoke detector is your amygdala. and the medial prefrontal cortex serves as a watchtower. So the amygdala, the smoke detector, senses a danger, and instantly the amygdala will send out messages across the entire body to orchestrate a full body response to fight, to flee, or to freeze. And when a brain works normally, the medial prefrontal cortex, the watchtower, will then set things into perspective and into context. So, for example, if the amygdala says the house is on fire, the medial prefrontal cortex would look at this and say, we only have smoke in the kitchen because somebody burned the dinner, but the house itself is not on fire. So this is how a normal brain that is not traumatized works effectively. So in that case, there is no panic attack on your end, and the amygdala will take the body response back and nothing bigger will happen, so no panic attack will occur. So if your brain is on trauma, this balance between the smoke detector and the watchtower is broken. It's no longer working effectively. This is why things get out of control for you, because the central nervous system became hypersensitive due to the trauma you experienced. This means the smoke detector, the amygdala, is overly sensitive and sends out alarm messages also when not necessary, which means if there is no real danger. But it sends out alarm messages more often than before, and even worse, the watchtower, the medial prefrontal cortex, is deactivated if your brain is on trauma and can then no longer verify the smoke detector's alarm. So the alarm message will go out and the panic attack is real, or the trauma flashback is real, or the nightmare is real, or you are in a freeze mode, you're in avoidance, you're procrastinating. All these things are happening then. Now let's look at how trauma trigger buttons run your life. So I started to explain this earlier. The trauma trigger buttons sit as an energetic blockage at the cellular and DNA level. And you cannot talk away such an energetic blockage. It actually must be cleared at the quantum level, which means the energy of the blockage has to be transmuted into nothing, into no thing, and then transmuted into nothing. Then it's permanently cleared. So you can't talk this away, it has to be cleared. So trauma is not a mental symptom to cope with, and learning how to cope with your trauma is basically treating the symptoms only. The trauma has to be cleared at the quantum level, transmuted back to the quantum field. And even trauma science knows this, that trauma cannot be talked away, that it takes more to clear trauma. So here is a quote from Bessel van der Kolk, one of my favorite trauma scientists, in his book, The Body Keeps the Score. It goes like this. After trauma, the world is experienced with a different nervous system. The survivor's energy now becomes focused on suppressing inner chaos at the expense of spontaneous involvement in their lives. These attempts to maintain control can lead to a whole range of physical symptoms. This explains why it is critical for trauma treatment to engage the entire organism, body, mind, and brain. So that's a quote from Bessel van der Kolk's book. I find it's very powerful and wanted to share it with you, that you also see where trauma science is right now. So trauma trigger buttons are like software. And software is actually running your computer, right? And software is running your entire life. So behind each of these trauma trigger buttons, there sits a traumatic experience and a fearful reaction to it. And you can imagine that this is like a software program. the traumatic experience, the fearful reaction to it that sits behind that trauma trigger button. It's like a software program that starts automatically as soon as you push the button. And at the core of this button is, of course, fear as well. So when a button gets pushed, it automatically runs the stored program, including its fearful reaction. That's what your trauma trigger buttons do. And now you can see how these trauma trigger buttons run your life and how they negatively impact your life in all areas. Let's talk a little bit about software and hardware. So your software runs your hardware, your computer. Yeah, so if you look at your laptop, the screen, the keyboard and everything, and the interfaces, so this is hardware. But what actually runs your hardware is the software that's installed on the hardware. The software determines how your hardware performs. And your trauma trigger points are actually like software because they determine how your body performs. So remember the impact your past traumas have on your brain, what we just discussed. And with software, you notice software needs updates from time to time. What do you need to do if you want to fix a document in your word processing system or a PowerPoint presentation? You work with a software, right? And sometimes the software produces errors. And then you need a new software update, a bug fix to be able to get certain outcomes. And the hardware will always play back what you did with the software. So if you run a software with an error, the hardware will play that back. If you run the software with the error fixed, the hardware will play that back and you get actually your desired outcome. And that's the same with trauma. What really is a software update? It's a new version of the software with new code that fixes the previous errors and has new functions. And this is what we do with trauma clearing. We have basically a new version of software, and we have in these clearing protocols codes and protocols that fix the previous errors. That means they take out what's no longer working, they clear out the trauma trigger buttons, and we have some new functions that brings everything again into cosmic order. So we basically deinstall the part of the code that created the problems and bugs, and these are the trauma trigger buttons. So we clear them out, we deinstall them, and then we implement accurate code so that your body, mind, spirit system can again function as originally designed. Now, have again a look on the summary slide with the 11 symptoms of past unresolved trauma. And remember the number of yes answers you counted earlier on in this video. And my question for you is, do you want to keep your trauma symptoms so that they can continue to hold you back in all areas of your life? Or do you want to get rid of them? Let's have a look at this question. What is it costing you to keep your past traumas? That's usually a question that is totally overlooked, but it helps you to go through this exercise that you actually know in numbers what is it costing you to keep your past traumas in your system, to keep this trauma alive. So here are a couple of life areas. Here is the area of your primary relationship, your family, your professional life, your income and finances, your health and well-being, your personal development, your spiritual development, and your community life. So I'm sure you know the scale of 1 to 10. So 1 is the worst scenario ever. Let's say it's horrible. Let's say 10 is terrific. It cannot get any better. You're super, super happy with that. You're totally fulfilled. So from scale 1, horrible, to scale 10, terrific. Now go over these life areas and just write down the number for yourself. How is your primary relationship on the scale of 1 to 10 right now? Just take the number that comes to you now. Do the same for your family life. Where is your family life from 1 to 10? Where is your professional life? Whether you are employed or you run your own business or you are an entrepreneur or investor, just put that down. Where is your professional life from 1 to 10? Where are your income and finances from 1 to 10? Is it horrible or is it terrific? Are you underpaid? Don't you get paid enough for the value you deliver? Just write it down. Let's have a look at health and well-being. Where is this life area from 1 to 10 for you right now? Your personal development from 1 to 10. And your spiritual development from 1 to 10. And then your community, your social life. So now you should have on a sheet of paper these life areas listed, and you should have a very clear overview for each life area where you currently are on a scale from 1 to 10. Now let's focus on your professional life and your finances. So just to write down for yourself what your income goal is per month and what your current income is per month. And you can do this whether you are employed or if you run your own business. You always have a certain income goal and you have a reality. And I want you to write these numbers down per month and then to calculate the gap. So let's say your income goal per month is 10,000 euro or dollars or pound, and your current income is, let's say, 7,000. Then you have a gap of 3,000. Or if you want to make 20 or 30,000 a month and your current income is 10 or 15, so then you have a remarkable gap, right? So write this down. Then you have a first number. If you look at the number you have identified as a gap, this is what your past traumas are costing you right now every single month. And this is just a number for one area of your life. Now you can go through this and look at your health and well-being, your relationships, and your other areas of your life, and just try to put a number behind. But this is here the most important one, your professional life and finances, to make it transparent for you that you have absolute clarity on what your past trauma is costing you now and going forward month by month. Becoming crystal clear what your past unresolved traumas cost you is mission critical. Do you desire your past traumas to continue to impact your life in such a negative way? Clearing your past traumas has really never been more important. You've just seen this for you, what your past traumas cost you on a monthly basis in this one area of your life. Now, we are living in very turbulent times. So you must be flexible and you must be able to take action when needed to thrive in these turbulent times. And that means you can't be in a state of fear, in a state of avoidance, and in procrastination. That's not working. So you really have to be trauma-free, drama-free, and fear-free to thrive and to achieve your desired outcomes, especially in these turbulent times. Now, as promised, here is a trauma clearing experience for you that I will do on this video. So I will now continue to clear the highest priority traumatic experience for you. So if you're ready for this and you're not driving a car, then please continue. Otherwise, come back to this video when it's a good time for you. So have a look at this code. and let this code interact with you. Then focus on your inner rhythm of breathing. So you can inhale on the count of 4, hold the breath for 4, and then slowly exhale effortlessly on the count of 8. Let's do this a couple of times. Inhale on 4, hold it, and slowly exhale. And inhale again. Hold it, and slowly exhale. And let still the code interact with you. Then imagine that you inhale the code through your third eye. This is the chakra between your physical eyes. And then close your eyes and just feel while I do the clearing. So I'm connecting to your higher self. It's commanded in the name of divine love that the absolute trauma clearing imprint and removal code be used to clear the highest priority traumas from you permanently now to Asia and Taroe. And just keep breathing, keep your eyes closed, and just tune into yourself and feel while the clearing is happening. So it may feel heavy for you, so just keep breathing and focus on letting go. And keep breathing. And focus on letting go. And keep breathing and feel how it clears. Yeah, keep breathing. So take a deep breath in and exhale as strongly as you can. Now, how did you experience this? It was quite powerful. Yeah. So as promised, here's what I've got for you. I've got for you an offer how you can clear all your past traumatic experiences permanently at the quantum level so that you can achieve your desired goals, not only in your financial goals, your income, your professional life, but in all areas of your life, even if the world is in crisis mode. It's the ultimate trauma clearing program to become trauma-free in 8 weeks. So what is this about? It's the most effective trauma clearing program out there. So we talked about this, how this all works, and you've seen the testimonials. It's about clearing the root causes, not coping with symptoms. It's a very comprehensive clearing approach at the quantum level that covers the auric field, your karmic imprints, your soul level blockages. All of them impact your traumatic experience as well. And then it's a comprehensive clearing of all different trauma categories. In parallel, you create your new belief system and you learn powerful mind mastery tools to become a master of your choices from now on. So this is what it's included in the Ultimate Trauma Clearing Program. There is an advanced recursive auric clearing included. That's the newest and the most effective auric clearing technique. It works recursively. That means once the code and protocol is activated in you, it continues to clear future blockages you may create in yourself. So also here is the idea of a software that works in an if-then manner. So it will continue to check if there's a new blockage in your auric field, and it will clear it. The same is true for the second step, the advanced recursive karma clearing. And that also includes the activation of the financial mastery code. So here as well, this program works recursively. Then you will receive a soul profile and blueprint of yourself that I will read and create for you. And we will clear all kinds of soul level blockages. And then we go into a 5-week sequence of very effective trauma clearing. So we can begin with your past life trauma clearing. We retrieve lost soul facets. We then do prenatal and birth trauma clearing, childhood trauma clearing, and then we focus on everything in your adult life. And then we have a whole session for special traumas. So that can be specific emotional mental abuse, dependency, accidents, crimes, bankruptcy, financial losses, natural disasters, terror attacks, whatever happened in your life. Plus, there are priceless bonuses included for 4 weeks that are very intense and that support your trauma clearing. And let me very clear this is not trauma therapy, something you've probably done for many years, because what also trauma science knows, you remember we talked about this, talking about trauma will not solve the issue. It will not change things in your life, except that you know more about what happened and why. This is you learn how to cope, but you will not feel better. And the focus on clearing the root causes of your trauma, these trauma trigger buttons, is that you can then feel differently. And that is the prerequisite for achieving different things in your life again. Yeah, so we don't treat symptoms here. We go down to the root causes and clear the root causes at the cellular and DNA level. This is where trauma sits. Because coping with trauma is like working with a computer with a virus. The software of the virus slows your computer down. You cannot even use many of the functions, and it may begin to destroy files and even the hardware. So the virus can easily wipe you out. And that is the same with your past traumatic experiences. So you can really look at them like a computer virus. Part of the software we really have to get rid of that has to be cleared out. So you buy the best antivirus software you can get as fast as you can to protect your computer and your files, to clear the virus from your computer. That's what you would do, right? And that's what we do here with trauma clearing with my Ultimate Trauma Clearing Program. Because as viruses make your computer sick and dysfunctional, your past traumas can make you ill and dysfunctional. So clearing is the key to become free. It's about becoming trauma-free in 8 weeks, and this is how it works. The 8 modules in 8 weeks, plus the 4 additional bonus weeks to empower yourself. It works via Zoom webinar, in a group setting, or in a one-to-one setting. That depends on you. We have weekly sessions with Q&As, one per module. You will always receive your recordings, so you will always be able to continue clearing work if you desire to do so after your program. And you will have some weekly assignments for yourself. So this is the transformation you will get with the Ultimate Trauma Clearing System. It will clear your past traumas completely at the quantum level. We talked about it, past life, prenatal birth, childhood, adulthood, all kinds of special traumas. It will increase your energy frequency significantly so that you're able to attract different people, different situations, different places, different events. You will always receive new downloads, new programs from your higher self, and it will allow you to live from an open heart again without fear. It will make you feel much lighter, and it will clear also the source of your physical symptoms. It will annihilate procrastination, as this is the fear of taking action because of past trauma. It will clear all past issues with money, lack, and limitation. And it will allow your soul to close these old chapters on all these painful past experiences. So it allows you to focus on what you desire to create in your life now. So trauma clearing is the doorway to closing past painful experiences and stepping into your divinity to follow your life's mission and purpose. So this is a program that's not for everyone. So if you prefer to stay where you currently are in your life, it's not for you. If you're happy with your current life, having a 10 in all life areas, then this is not for you. But you wouldn't be on the video if that was the case, right? If you prefer to blame others, the circumstances for your current state, it's not for you. So if you're not committed to change your current state for the better, if you don't want to take responsibility to do that, and if you're not willing to invest in yourself, and if you think that information alone equals transformation, then this is not for you. But the Ultimate Trauma Clearing Program is for you if you want to stop procrastination, avoidance, panic attacks, self-sabotage, nightmares, flashbacks, and all these trauma symptoms. If you want to stop it, if you want this to be out of your life, then this is for you. If you want to live the life you desire, then this is for you. If you desire to shift from fear to love, the program is for you. If you know that investing in yourself is the best investment you can ever make, this is for you. If you're committed to change your life, and you're committed to take action now, then this is for you. If you're committed to master your professional life, your career, your business, your finances, then this is for you. And here are the bonuses you will receive. So this is a very comprehensive 3-step shame, guilt, and fear clearing program. So this is very, very powerful because shame and guilt are the lowest energy frequency emotions on the planet. So these are real showstoppers and usually connected to most trauma categories. So this is a part of your bonuses that you will receive, plus powerful mind mastery tools we will work on 101. And also when it comes to developing your new belief system, we're working on this 101. So these are priceless bonuses that allow you to live from the heart and move forward. How much longer you want to keep your past traumatic experiences? You can take action now. To change your current state, you have to take action now. So click on the link and book your clarity call with me now. And this is a call where we will get together. We will go over your current situation, what you desire to create in your life, what you experienced in the past, so that we can design and, if necessary, tailor your trauma clearing program. And I will show you how it all looks like. It will lay out the steps for you. then you look at where you currently are in your life, where you want to be, you see the gap, and you can make a decision where you want to move forward or not. So that's what we do on the clarity call. We just do this really one-on-one for you situation specifically. So click the link and book your clarity call. This is the most important next step in your life. I'm looking very much forward to talk to you soon. If you want to get rid of your past trauma and get back into the true seat of your life, if you want to enjoy your life again and actually do what you came here to do and achieve your goals, then click the link and book your clarity call with me now. I can't wait to talk to you soon.